humans. But cards are the human's best friend, and they're also really hard to get. In order to get a card, you have to be in a building and give up your move action to search that building. And then you get to draw a card, and then you get to either put it down as an item or put it in your hand as an event. And the thing is, the reason why if you're starting in the town square, you get a free card is because you then have to make your way to a building and then spend your search action in order to get more cards. And that can be a little tedious and a little hard to do early in the game, so they get rewarded with a card to start off with. Basically, in most scenarios, you're going to try and be drawing something. You're going to be looking for the townsfolk, and there'll actually be cards that you will find in the draw deck. You'll be looking for gasoline, and that will be a card you find in the draw deck. But more importantly, there will be cards, sometimes more importantly, there will be cards that will help you fight better. There will be weapons like the baseball bat or the meat cleaver or the revolver. And that is all going to help you perform a lot better. Because here's the thing. When you're fighting zombies, zombies will get to roll, they'll get to roll dice and you'll get to roll dice. But you, in order to do a wound to the zombie, will need to do roll higher than them, and you will need to do doubles in order to beat them. So if a zombie hits on a 5 and you roll a 6 and a 4, then you are considered to have fended off the zombie, which means you take no wound, but you also don't destroy the zombie. If you rolled a 5 and a 4 and he rolled a 5, then it is a tie, and zombies win on ties in almost every situation, except if you have a special card or a human that will actually allow you to win on ties. If you hit on a 6 and a 6 and the zombie player rolls a 5, then you are considered to have killed the zombie. And then it goes off the board, and you can move on your merry way because the zombie is no longer in your path. Now, as you're moving around the board, you will also roll a d6. Very simple. Roll a d6, move that many spaces. And the interesting thing about movement is that you get to, as I said, give up your movement action in order to search a building for items and event cards. So the first thing you can do is you can roll to see what you would get. In this case, I got a 2, so I will not get very far with that. So I may then decide if I want to give up my movement, draw a card, and, oh, I got a lighter. So I may ignore the effects of lights out, and it's also good in certain circumstances like trying to ignite fuel. Or I may have gotten at last. Play at the start of a hero turn to cancel any zombie card that is marked remains in play. So those are just some of the examples of cards you will get, and you will be wanting to get a lot of cards during this game. So basically the idea is, depending on the scenario again, you're going to roll, you're going to move, you're usually going to try and get into a building, and you're usually going to try and get cards. And then you're going to try and get the certain cards that you need. So again, if you need gas, you're going to be looking for those gas cards. Now, there's going to be a lot of complicated rules that kind of come up, and they're just kind of scenario based, but the basic rules that you're going to be looking for are things like human players can't move through walls. They have to come through a doorway in order to get into a building. However, they can shoot through walls. They're considering to be looking out the window and they can shoot, or the holes in the walls, or whatever. The idea is that they can get up against the wall and get a shot off. The opposite thing is that zombies, they can move through walls, so they're very dangerous. They're busting through the wall, or they're coming up through the floorboard, and it's very thematic, and it's also very dangerous for the humans. So whereas it may take a human 3 spaces to get into a building, it may only take a zombie 1. The other thing is humans can move up to 6 spaces depending on what they roll in their d6, but zombies always move 1 space. And the only stipulation that zombies follow is if they have an adjacent space with a human, they must move into that space. It's called the hunger. And so they want to feast on your flesh, so they will move directly to you if you are adjacent to them. And that can sometimes be very dangerous for the humans, but sometimes it can be a strategy. Maybe you want to draw them away from a particular location. I know one of the strategies we use for Defend the Manor is to try and kite the zombies away from it so that they don't fill up the manor and make you lose. So, you know, you are generally going to try and get into buildings and get these cards, and the zombies are going to be coming after you. Slow moving, generally. Although there are cards that will all of a sudden make them go fast or make a whole bunch of them move. And that is going to kind of throw a wrench in your plans at times. But basically, that's how you play. Now, on the zombie side of things, again, zombies only need to beat you when they roll in order to do a wound to you. And if they kill you, that character's out of the game. Now, if a player ever loses their last character, they get another character, and as a result, the zombies turn that into a zombie hero. But that's kind of getting into the complicated rules again. The zombies will generally just move one space, but they get a hand of 4 zombie cards, and every turn they get to draw that back up. And sometimes it will be a play immediately card, and those generally screw the players, the human character players, over in some way. Sometimes, I mentioned the fact that there's this may be our last night on Earth card in here. Sometimes you'll get a card like that, which will say if there are 2 characters of a certain type, like male and female, in the same space, then they get their turn delayed, and they don't get to do anything. And that can be kind of dangerous to the humans because they're expecting to take their turn. So the other stipulations, there's, like I said, a lot of rules when you start getting deep into it, but they're basically simple. Say for instance you have 3 zombies move into a space and they attack the humans. Well, the humans get to divide them up, but they have to divide them as evenly as possible. So one of the humans may fight one zombie and one of the humans may fight the other, but if there's a leftover one, then the human characters get to decide who takes on that leftover. And it can be a lot of fun doing all this. The only one thing I would warn you guys of is that the rules for playing multiple zombie players is a little vague in how you play everything. And the other weird issue is that the balance in the game looks like it could kind of be off in certain circumstances. Like I said, if a player ever loses their last character, then they get a new one immediately. So basically, if you have 4 players playing 1 human each, if one of them dies, they immediately get another character. And as a result, the zombies get a zombie hero. Does that balance out? I mean, that's some of the questions you'll ask. If there's 1 player playing as all 4 humans, then they have to lose all 4 before they'd ever get another one. And so basically, they would never get another one, because if 4 humans ever die in a game, the zombies automatically win. And there's basically, the only other thing is there's a sun tracker, and the different scenarios will start you off at different levels, and then you will count down, and then once it falls off of the sun tracker, something happens. Usually it's the humans win if they survive that long, but sometimes the zombies win. Say the humans have to accomplish something. They have to blow up a bunch of zombie spawn points. Well, if they don't do that in the allotted amount of time, then the zombies are considered to have won. So basically, all the rules in the game are going to go into more detail based on what scenario you're playing. The basic scenario, die zombies die, is just really simple. It's a good one to start off with, but it's not very thematic overall. It's basically just kill 15 zombies within the allotted amount of turns. And if you do that, then you win. And if you don't, the zombies win. And the good thing about this is it doesn't really leave a whole lot to luck. You're not looking for gasoline cards. You're not looking for specific townsfolk. You're just trying to kill zombies. And the better player will win, maybe sometimes based on what kind of cards you're getting. So basically, that's the game. It sounds kind of complicated, but really it's simple. I would definitely recommend starting out with Die Zombies Die and working your way up. Like I said, it's not as thematic as some of the others, but it's simple and it uses a lot less of the complicated rules. And, you know, hopefully you will have fun doing that. good luck. That's basically all I can say about that. And we'll be back with a review of the game.